people are scared of the ocean today.
And honestly? Fair.
It's dark, absurdly deep, and full of creatures that look like they were designed after nature accidentally clicked randomize. But here's the thing. Modern oceans are actually the friendly version. Because if you went back hundreds of millions of years, the ocean was basically Earth's horror phase. We're talking shrimp with nightmare mouths. Sea scorpions longer than your car. Fish built like armor tanks. And predators so bizarre that if one showed up today, humanity would collectively agree to never swim again.
And somehow,
those still weren't the weirdest things down there. Because the deeper scientists dig into Earth's history, the stranger it gets.
And trust me,
by the end of this video, you're going to be very grateful you were born now and not 450 million years ago.
Because back then,
going for a swim was less refreshing afternoon activity and more creative way to disappear forever. Long before forests covered the land. Before dinosaurs ever existed. Before Earth looked anything like it does today. Life was already thriving underwater. And apparently evolution looked at these empty oceans and thought, you know what this needs?
Chaos.
One of the earliest apex predators was
Anomalocaris.
And honestly, it looks like several animals got halfway through evolving and then just gave up. It had giant grasping arms,
huge compound eyes,
and a circular mouth lined with sharp plates that looked suspiciously like nature invented a garbage disposal and thought, yeah, this'll terrify future scientists. For over 500 million years ago, this thing was a nightmare. It dominated the seas with terrifying efficiency. But as strange as it was only the beginning. Because once evolution realized weird worked,
it got ambitious.
And that's when things started getting bigger.
Much bigger.
At some point, evolution completely stopped respecting size limits.
And that gave us Gecalopterus.
This creature could grow over 2.5 meters long. Which is important because once something reaches that size, we legally have to stop calling it a bug.
That's not an arthropod anymore. That's a problem.
Imagine seeing one of these moving toward you underwater. No dramatic music.
No warning.
Just several hundred pounds of prehistoric nope approaching at speed. And this thing wasn't clumsy either.
It was fast. Its vision was excellent.
Its claws were massive. And it was very, very good at ruining someone else's day. For millions of years, giant sea scorpions ruled ancient waters. It probably felt like nothing could challenge them. But Earth has a habit of replacing its monsters with something even worse. And eventually, something arrived that made giant scorpions look almost reasonable.
Almost. Then came Dunkleistus.
And this thing looked less like an animal and more like nature got angry and built a weapon. Dunkleistus was heavily armored from head to torso, like evolution decided fish needed medieval protection.
And instead of teeth,
it had sharpened bony plates that acted like giant self-sharpening blades. Which somehow feels more aggressive. Its bite force was absolutely ridiculous. Strong enough to crush prey with terrifying efficiency. Basically, if this thing decided your day was over, your day was over.
Quickly.
And for millions of years, Dunkleistus ruled the oceans like an underwater tank with unresolved issues. At this point, you'd think evolution had peaked. Like surely this was as terrifying as things could get.
It wasn't.
Because eventually, something even larger entered the water.
And unlike Dunkleistus,
this next predator moved like a missile.
Much later came Mosasaurus.
Now technically, this wasn't a dinosaur. It was a marine reptile. Which sounds less scary until you realize that's basically just scientist language for gigantic sea monster. Mosasaurus could grow over 15 meters long.
That's bus-sized. A bus with teeth.
And unlike buses, this one actively wanted to eat things. It was fast, powerful, and built perfectly for hunting. If it noticed movement in the water, that movement usually stopped being relevant pretty quickly. And the craziest part? It wasn't alone. Ancient oceans were packed with predators. Every layer of water had something waiting. The deeper you went, the worse your odds got. The ocean wasn't just dangerous. It was competitive violence with currents. And somehow, life kept adapting. Which is honestly rude levels of resilience. But that raises a bigger question. Why was everything back then so absurd? Why did ancient oceans keep producing monsters? The answer is surprisingly simple.
Time.
A ridiculous amount of it. The ocean has had hundreds of millions of years to experiment. And evolution never really stops tinkering. Give life enough time, enough competition, and enough extinction events to reset the board. And weird things happen. really weird things. Some designs failed instantly. Some lasted millions of years. And some became absolute monsters before disappearing forever. It was basically Earth running the longest beta test in history. Every extinction event forced life to adapt again.
To evolve faster, stranger, more efficient.
And every time the oceans rebuilt themselves, they came back with something even more ridiculous. Which means the ocean didn't just evolve terror once. It kept reinventing it. Over and over again.
Honestly?
You have to respect the commitment. The ocean today feels mysterious because most of it is still unexplored. But its real history is even stranger than anything we've found so far. For hundreds of millions of years, Earth's seas were ruled by creatures so bizarre they sound fictional. Armored fish built like tanks. Sea scorpions the size of cars. Ancient predators with nightmare mouths. And reptiles so massive they'd make modern sharks seriously reconsider their career choices. So next time you're nervous about what might be swimming beneath you,
just remember, it could have been so much worse.
And thankfully, most of the worst things are extinct.
Probably.
Make sure to subscribe. Because Earth's history only gets weirder from here.
And trust me,
we've barely scratched the surface.